YouTube, what is up? Hey, we got a ball fade here with a 2 going with the grain. I'm gonna go ahead and do it step by step. This way you guys can learn. First thing I want to point out is I got some new beats, and obviously you can tell they sound pretty familiar. I watch a lot of 360 Jeezy. Love that dude. Puts out a lot of great content. He's always shouting out his brother Hustle Dream Pro on Instagram. So when it comes to beats, I say, you know what? Let me check him out. So I hit him up, got some beats from him, and they are fire. So anybody, if you need any kind of music content, definitely check him out. He'll work with you, and the best thing about him is that he'll have everything to you within 24 hours. So please feel free, check the guy out. He's awesome. But as we're getting into the cut, I'm going ahead with the number 2 guard. I have it closed on my Andis Masters, and I'm going with the grain. I'm gonna go make sure everything's done evenly, everything's brushed out, combed out, and I'm gonna go all the way around the head. Now I'm gonna take my 0 gap trimmers and do a nice guideline bald right around the head, starting at the bottom of the temple area. I'm gonna keep it pretty even because it's gonna be kind of more of a medium high bald fade. And it's not gonna match the contour of his head. It's gonna zip straight across in a straight line. So go ahead and do that. One thing to note is that if you have these trimmers, they cut very, very sharp. So in order to do this without pulling skin on your clients, because the blade is real pointy and sharp, you're gonna want to use them flat, like a fade blade. You want to ride them flat against the head. So if you have these exact pair of trimmers and they are 0 gap, be careful and take it easy. All right, next, we're gonna go ahead and make a 1-inch band around the head with your lever open. This cuts it to about just under 1/8 of an inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making that band while scooping out, brushing the hair. And here I got my 1 guard on there, and that's also open. I'm gonna go ahead and make another 1-inch band. I'm gonna continue that all the way around the head. I'm making sure too that every time I'm using my clippers and I'm cutting hair, I'm going against the grain. So he has some hair that kind of grows sideways. You just want to make sure you go against it. So you do have to sometimes ride on an angle when you're cutting hair. This way you know you're cutting it to the desired length. All right, so I'm gonna put on my number 2 guard. I'm gonna close it. This is gonna take off that little bit of a weight line that he has above the 1.5. So when I use the 2 against with the grain, it leaves the hair a little longer than a 2. So when I use the 1.5 coming up, which is my second guideline, you're gonna have a little bit of a difference between that and the actual long hair on top. So I'm just gonna kind of knock that down using the 2, and we'll see where that goes. And if it's good enough, I won't have to use a 3. I'll just go straight to blending. In this case, the 2 closed is working perfectly. So long as I'm combing the hair and I'm blending upwards, it's going to be just fine enough so I can just get down to my 1/16 and start blending these lines away. So that's what I'm going to do next. Here we are, the 0 guard, 1/16. This is your blending guard. I'm going to go ahead and start blending with the clipper open. With textured hair, you should always be brushing the hair too, because this kind of, makes it lay down nice and flat and primes it for you cutting it. And plus, any kind of hair that gets cut away, some of the hair stays in the spot that you're cutting. If you use a brush, it kind of cleans off the area and makes everything better for you to actually, have it visible and see what you're doing a little better. So always consistently brush. Notice how I'm closing the lever. Each time I close it, it's going to cut the hair shorter. So as I'm doing that, I'm cutting lower on the blend. I'm cutting more toward the first line of demarcation, that 1/2 blade. So the lower you go, the more closed the clipper is going to be. The higher you are, the more open it's going to be, just as a rule of thumb. So now I'm going to blend the bottom line out. I'm going to close the clipper a little bit, come down some, close it a little more, come down a little more, and do it consistently until the bottom line is gone. As you can see, this blend is starting to come together. It's starting to look real nice. You could always go over it and fix it up by attaching your guard and taking your guard off and kind of like hitting dark areas to blend it better. But it's also better to do it later after the shape up. You guys know I always kind of stress that. But here, I noticed that I have it pretty much close to what I see is perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, lighten up some spots here and there just to make it look a little bit better before I get to the ending. Right. Now I feel pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the chair and I'm gonna start getting onto fading the back area of the head. Do the same exact techniques. Start with my 1/16, which is my 0 guard. Number 0, you can see it says it on there. I'm gonna start blending down into the half and then use my bare clippers to blend down into the bald area. So anybody who's new out there to barbering, follow these steps and make it work for yourself. Everything I'm telling you might not flow exactly how you would like it to be. And as you're doing them, feel free to make changes here and there if something feels like it suits you a little better. As far as, saving time or making a better blend quicker, just making a better blend in general. This is just a guideline that I go by that works for me. And when I learned through the years, I was taught a certain way that, didn't really sit well with me, but it was nice because it put the bug in my ear on how to do something in a different manner. So I would say, take it with a grain of salt what I'm showing you. Change some things up if it suits you better. But as far as what I'm showing you, it's a good, a good base, a good guideline to start with until you find your own way of doing your own thing. Right, now it's looking pretty good. Go ahead on the other side. I'm gonna let this one fast forward for you because it's the same exact steps. But I'm gonna let you guys see the visual. I'll let you guys see the process of it being done in fast motion. This way, you could at least say, hey, it works and it matches. So check it out. Now we're on to the shape up, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my Elegance hairspray, which I think works very well to hold the hair down. I'm gonna lightly mist it on the forehead. Aiming at the hair, you don't wanna aim at the forehead too much. But dry it off with your blow dryer. Get it nice and dry. And this stuff works a charm. It's very light, it's a light mist. I used to use that Tresemme, number 3 hairspray, and that worked good too, but this seemed to work a little better. I'll go ahead and start blocking out that front hairline, keeping everything natural and straight. So you want to find a nice little in between where if you can make it straight while taking off very minimal hair, go for it. Unless you hear otherwise from the client, which is always number one. Whatever they want is what you do. In my case, I pretty much with this guy have free reign. I just make it nice and straight, even if it means taking a little, touch from the sides. But nothing too much, you don't want to back them up too much. So just be careful while you're doing it and, use your best judgment. And these trimmers cut very sharp. I highly recommended them. Once I got these things and I zero gapped them, they really turn out to be the best trimmers I've used thus far. Mainly because of that thin blade that they have on there. Nice fine teeth and very thin blade. So, this thing cuts like a champ. I can't say there's anything that cuts better. So, if it comes to recommending a pair of trimmers, I'm going with these bad boys. They have good power, they stay on for a while, battery life is good, and they cut ridiculously sharp, man, the best. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little hair fiber on there, just enough to touch up the front line, any little light spots he has. We're gonna take them out of there, using a card just for a straight line. So give it a light little mist, boom, that's it, just enough. Call it a day. Do the other side, seal it up with the hair sealer, which is kind of like a hairspray. It makes the hair fiber stick to the hair. So you use a little bit of that, dry it up. Here I got my razor blade. You know, when you're doing hair fibers, I like to recommend using a, you know, more of a better exposed blade. So here I have my Black Widow blade, which I use all the time because see how much the blade sticks out? It's like the perfect amount, okay? That lets me hit all the corners and do the shape up very good while, you know, maintaining a good sense of detail, you know? With the blade sticking out that much extra compared to a regular straight razor, you know, I can get into the corners like right here without hair being moved by the actual blade holder. Everything, you know, stays in place. I can see real good. See how tight I come into that corner? I definitely recommend a high exposure blade. Everyone makes them. It's not just Black Widow. Black Widow, I happen to have a few of their razors and they've always been good to me. So I always, you know, try to get more. But pull the skin, go against the grain when it comes to using the razor, and you will have a sharp haircut. So this is what I like to do. Some people use shears. I use my clippers. Close them up. All right, and be very careful. You easily mess a haircut up. Notify your client, hey, don't move. We're doing some sketchy business right now. I don't want to patch you up. I will if I have to, but it's better you don't move because I don't want to. So here I'm just hitting all the loose hairs that are sticking up. Again, some people use shears because you can just ride it along the head easier. Me, I like freehanding it a little better because you get real close down to the actual thick hair and take off everything that sticks out and make the haircut look that much better. So this is a more or less like a professional method that not everyone's going to be able to do. It depends how steady you can be, you know, and how steady your client can be. Just because you're steady doesn't mean you're not going to mess somebody up. Especially if they're, you know, kids that are jerking their heads around. So use this method with caution, okay? You got to be careful. So here's a finished cut, people. Hope you guys like it. Hope it works for you and that you guys can, you know, maybe learn something from it and use it to your potential. You get a sec, subscribe, please. Do me the favor, subscribe. It's free. Click on notifications, click on all. I will take care of the rest. Peace out, people.